Let him laugh. 1 more hour and he'd be dead. Michael Sykora put the binoculars down on the passenger seat. The man he'd soon be killing went by the name Alan Nystrom, an alias of which he had 3 others. His real name, the one he hadn't used in over 20 years, was Bruce Renwick. More laughter. Good to know that Renwick was enjoying his last day, soaking up the sun on the golf course, making jokes with his buddies. Would Renwick, if given the choice, pick golf as his last hurrah? Doubtful, though the choices people made often baffled him. Michael was being paid $40,000 to dispose of Bruce Renwick. 20 of that had already been deposited into his offshore account. The other half would be received upon completion. His price had been a little higher for this job since the client had chosen the method of death. An indulgence Michael had allowed, this time, though after what he'd found while rummaging through Renwick's home last night, Michael would gladly take this trash out for free. Calling Renwick an animal would be a grave insult to the non-human world. Renwick was a pedophile, a predator of the lowest sort. The last child he'd raped, an 11-year-old boy, had hung himself afterward because the shame and trauma had been unbearable. That boy had not been Renwick's first victim. He would, however, be the last. The next day, Michael had been contacted. The boy's father did not want Renwick given the chance to walk away, not ever. He had to be wiped off the earth before the police finished their investigation. That call had come 5 days ago. Michael had inside information that a warrant would be issued for Renwick's arrest tomorrow morning. Renwick would be dead this afternoon. Bruce Renwick, as Alan Nystrom, strode confidently toward the clubhouse. The man had an odd stoop, like he was training to be the hunchback in a play or something. His hair was that shade of brown that women called mousy, and his eyes were covered by small round glasses reminiscent of John Lennon. He wore tan shorts and one of those polo shirts in blue. To all the world, he appeared as a harmless geek. The locked metal storage unit in his garage had told a different story. Michael had checked. He liked to be sure before he killed. Death wasn't something he could take back. The pictures had confirmed more than he'd needed to know. Renwick would not be a mistake. Michael set his binoculars on the seat beside him and did his best to stretch in the cramped car. He'd been sitting in the parking space for 11 minutes, having moved once Renwick had finished the 18th hole. Now he had a perfect view of the clubhouse, as well as Renwick's silver sob. The clock continued to tick on Renwick's life. 18 more minutes passed. Then Bruce Renwick, golf bag slung over his shoulder, emerged from the clubhouse. One of his golf buddies walked beside him. They headed toward the parking lot. The other man, a 40-something balding executive type, parted company with Renwick as they moved toward their respective cars. Michael turned the key in his ignition. He pushed the gear into reverse, kept his foot on the brake. The executive climbed into his car, a bright yellow Volkswagen. He tooted once, then pulled out. Renwick lifted his hand in a wave as he kept walking. Fortunately for Michael's purpose, Renwick liked to park his Saab in the back of the lot, far from everyone. He was also one of those guys who parked diagonally across 3 spaces at the grocery store so that no one would ding his car while opening his or her door. Michael glanced around him. The strip mall had been fairly busy this morning. Right now, however, he was alone. No one had parked close to him. No one was outside. The timing couldn't have been better. He tucked the binoculars under his seat. He would no longer need them. His heart sped up. Just a slight increase, but enough for him to notice. His breathing remained even. He watched. Bruce Renwick held his keychain. He pressed the button on his remote to unlock the doors. The alarm chirped off, then the trunk popped open. He slid the golf clubs off his shoulder and placed the bag inside the trunk. Then he pushed the trunk lid closed. Back around to the driver's side. Renwick reached out, gripped the door handle, and pulled. A grimace, probably from the heat inside the car. He smoothed his hair back, adjusted his glasses, then slid inside. Michael eased his foot from the brake. Renwick yanked his door closed. A moment passed. The engine caught. Then a deafening blast that shook the pavement. The vibration reverberated through Michael's hands as he gripped the steering wheel. Thick smoke, orange flames, bits of metal rained down around the blaze that had once been Renwick and his car.